I'm okay. I don't know. I'm fucking lying. I'm using this by way of fair use. Um, Go ahead and say okay. Say what you were saying about Bush in the beginning.
You're live now.
Yeah, because I want people to know this information.
Okay, well, basically, there were a lot of laws. Uh, a lot of law. There are a lot of policies that changed access and changed the way small businesses were allowed to thrive under Bush, and then in Obama, it got even more restrictive, if you could imagine such a thing. So a lot of small businesses started to leave, and
Or
then
shut down.
we were in the midst of the recession, and um, so businesses are closing down and things like that, and people are losing their houses, because the housing bubble popped, and so there's a lot of homelessness throughout California and jobs, and there are parts of California, there are parts of Northern California and parts of Southern California that are further removed from the Bay Area, like San Francisco, even Los Angeles, where they are still feeling, they're not having a come around, they're not experiencing a revival. Like Sacramento is in the midst of experiencing revival, LA was, San Francisco was, but they're still going through like the depths of the recession now, and with all of the laws changing hands at the state level, like with the HIV laws, and
Yeah,
now with
I
it
hate that
becoming
bullshit.
illegal, to um, basically live in your car. It's now illegal to live in your car in various parts around California when it wasn't before. People are they're just tired. They're tired of dealing with it. They're tired of the restrictions. They're tired of you have to be plugged in. You have to be plugged into a corporation basically to thrive in California. And contrary to many people's belief, California hasn't historically been that way. California was very much like Texas in the sense of where you can pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and you can make it, and communities work together, because the history of California is very different in regards to other states, because California was on the other side of the country and so far removed from DC and New York, going back to going back to pioneer days, gold rush, you very much was no man's land. And so the regulations and policies have made it so that you can no longer be that way. You have to be plugged in. The school with Common Core, the schools are a mess. Um,
Maxine Waters.
um, now, and that's a big reason why, and Jerry Brown helped with that as well. Um, and that's a big reason why, uh, when it was proposed, for California to split into six, that it got to the, I mean, and they've always done that throughout the years, but it got to the point to where it got as big as it's gotten, and now it didn't make it, and now the new proposal is for California to split into three, and it looks like it's actually going to make it to the state. Um,
But doesn't they have to go by they have to abide by the federal?
well, yes, yes. What it hasn't gotten this far before, but and it has to first be voted by the state senate, by the state legislative branch, and then it's going to go to the federal. And of course, I don't think the federal is going to go for it at all.
Because I told my wife, I'm like, I'm just waiting on that earthquake. What was that movie? Uh, Escape from L.A. with Kurt Russell, where California broke off the map. It needs a break off because your friend living in California, I said she'll be back because it's so high. I don't want. I don't know why everything is so high. Because I spoke with someone in California. They said you need 2 jobs and a roommate just to get by.
Yeah, you do. And it really
I
and
thought that was bullshit.
it's it's really coming down to be like, and from what I have noticed and being a foreigner, but it's really coming down to being like how things here are here in New York, where if you don't already know someone and you don't already have something and you're not already have something lined up,
You're screwed.
then you're screwed. And on top of the homeless issue, that's a huge problem. They're also being in California. What's happening is a lot of people who are homeless and have nothing are having to be heavily policed because there's so many of them.
It's like you
And
gotta be super rich
not
to
to
live in
mention,
California.
hmm?
Like you have to be super rich to live in California.
And the other thing that's making conditions even harder in California is the issues. The big thing with California is there has always been issues during my lifetime, and I'm 34. There's always been issues. There were always illegal immigration issues. There were always these issues, and the issues that didn't get taken care of and got swept under the rug because uh, at the at the education level, it was, well, we can get more money from the state, and at the state's like, well, it's fine if we have all these things that we're not doing correctly because we'll just get more money from the federal level.
You know what? My wife just speak on the same thing because you were also part of the budget, and they said we gotta write this up because the same way with construction on the roadways, how they take forever because if it's not completed, then they'll get more money.
Hmm.
Which I'm
And that,
like,
and that I know for a fact that has happened around California,
that
around
I say
Sacramento.
that's BS. I'm like,
What it is
Well, one of the big things that happened in 2016 was California was supposed to notify their residents that they had to have special IDs or passports due to 9/11, and they had 10 years. They were told they had 10 years to get the state in line, and then when the deadline hit in 2016 for the whole state to be ready, a lot of the residents were scrambling, and then it was being published in the news in 2015. Oh yeah, by the way, we were supposed to do this, and apparently we've been supposed to take all the residents have supposed to have been taking care of this for 10 years.
I
So
did.
it was a mad dash. So it was a mad dash to do that. I have a friend who lives in Southern California, and she told me that during election season, that it's very common to have people on corners try to usher in illegal immigrants, and falsify their paperwork so that they can participate in elections.
Which is illegal on a federal level.
Legal, yes, which is illegal.
See, that's what I was telling you, Barry. People don't understand. You have the older people now, that the elderly that don't have a right to go vote. Some of them are not even competent enough anymore to vote. Then you have the young people that don't care anything about voting. Yeah, they don't know anything about it. They don't know what anything is for. So that's what makes it so easy for our lovely government to take our money and do whatever they want to with it.
Like in this video right here, I'm like, okay, Pandora, when you lived in California, could they suspend your license if you did not pay your property tax?
No. What would happen is if you didn't pay your property tax,
Yeah, they'll seize your assets or stuff.
they would no, they wouldn't take they don't take your license. What they do is they take your property. You have a certain amount of time before you have to be out, or you have to come up with you have to come up with you have a certain amount of time before you come up with the money, and that's a whole process. And then when you don't come up with the money, then you have a certain amount of time to where you have to be out. And even if you come up with the money during that time, it's too late. But it's a whole trickle down staggering system. Our state is the state of California is still very much, even during Clinton, and I grew up during the Clinton administration, is still very much it's a liberal Ronald Reagan function, is what it is.
Because in this video, he said they can suspend your license.
He said
they're starting to do that. I'm like, over fucking property tax? I'm like, they don't took the house, so what the hell are you trying to take away people's rights?
Well, there was talk of putting that on the books. I don't have the information on that. I'd have to do further research on that to speak to that. But when I was there, and I haven't been far away from home for very long. You would just lose your property.
See,
but you can lose your license for, of course, drunk driving or reckless driving.
Yeah.
But the thing about California structure is that, and this is just what I've noticed about my state, is that there's chance after chance after chance after opportunity for people who have nothing and are basically going to be wards of the state. When you are trying to build something and you're a law-abiding citizen in California, life is harder for you because there's all this red tape, there's all these fees, and the fees always seem to increase. And we had this policy, but now it's been changed. And they don't always inform you. They don't always inform you of changes like that. They just pass quietly.
Yeah, because this video, I'm going to play this by way of fair use. How this dude put it, I'm like, I didn't even know you could do this. You can't suspend people's license because they ain't paid their taxes.
I want to do a follow-up video to a video I did a few weeks ago called People Are Disappearing in California. People are going bankrupt, they're losing everything, and under this load of debt, there's a load of shame.
State law does not supersede federal law. The people let them.
Many times they're leaving out of state, and they're leaving to places like Texas, Oklahoma, North Dakota, Georgia. I'm hearing Georgia.
Let Donald Trump know. Must he hate liberals? We'll come shut that shit down.
From the West Coast to other parts of the country, and many times these people don't have jobs lined up. They're going to live with other family and hoping for more opportunities. The workers, the ones that are making.
So in Pandora, when you left California, you left for the reason of
personal issues, like mental health issues. I had a breakdown and I couldn't go back, basically.
Okay, yeah. So, because most people go because they can't.
Oh, go ahead.
They can't make it in California. Like, okay,
No, that's not why. And in my case, that's not why I left. I wasn't thriving. I was just at, I guess, surviving. I was just at base level.
You wanted better.
No, it isn't even that. No, that's not why I left. I at that point was already taking trips to visit my fiance, and then on one of the trips I couldn't physically go back. I had a complete breakdown with everything that was going on in my life. But everything that was going on in my life didn't. I can look back and I can say that
there ain't shit for me in California. That's how you said. That's pretty much how you put it.
No. Life in California for me wasn't centered around the current climate, if you will. I was one of the fortunate ones because my job, I was working pretty much a state job teaching, so I was already plugged in. But for somebody who's not plugged in, it's very hard. For somebody who is working a minimum wage job, it's impossible. You have to live with somebody else. You have to have roommates. Those are things that you have to do.
Yeah. So let's continue.
I mean, I don't know. I think that with the new governor, things may turn around if he sticks to what he says he's going to do. The candidate that I voted for anyway. And it's just been a whole lot of leaving the door open and ignoring the flies. That's my take on my state. I love my state. I will always love my state. I will always. There are certain advantages to living in California that I had that I don't have here. But there's a lot of things that have happened, and a lot of things that have transpired since me leaving that I'm just like, what are you guys doing? But a lot of people don't realize is that there are a lot of people there are a lot of politicians that have been in their job for representing California, and they're tired and they don't want to be there, but they don't step down. And there really needs to be new blood that comes in and changes things.
Yeah, because Maxine,
like Jerry Brown didn't even want to be governor, but he had to take it because people were so disgusted and done with Schwarzenegger. They were like, we have to get somebody else in here.
I'm pretty sure you're well aware that Maxine Waters she's been in her position since 1990. That's 28 fucking years, man. That's like I said, there should be like, just like presidency, you just can't be a career politician. I can't name one thing she fucking done. I know her husband at financial bank crisis, she's fucking crooked as they fucking come. But let's continue with this video.
Okay, well, I've said everything I can possibly say. I'm gonna hop off.
No, cause I want you to see this, cause I don't know how they can do this, how they can suspend a license if you owe property tax. Okay, after this, I just want to know how can they do it.
Well, I can tell you how again, I'd have to read more about that topic, but in theory, with the way things work, I get how they could get away with it. Because do you want to hear it now, or do you want me to hop on later and tell you?
No, I just want you to hear like how he says it, because I'm like, wait a minute, you can't do that. That's stupid, because you can't do it. I don't see, because it's so.
Leaving California, what we're left with is kind of a migrant population that makes the majority of its income under the table, and then takes advantage of government programs like food stamps, welfare, low-income housing. And then on the coastal communities, you have people that seem almost unaffected by the economic situation. These are multimillionaires that have either made their money in the stock market or real estate, and they've lost a little bit of their net worth, but they're still living a very, very good life. When it's cold in the winter, we're coming out here to the desert. We're hanging out here. When it gets warmer, we're headed to the coast where we're staying at state beaches, or we're headed up to like Lake Isabella, or staying up in the mountains. Teachers are being pushed to the max. They already are having 30 plus students per classroom. There's a lot of stress, a lot of stress on the parents, a lot of stress on the students, a lot of stress on the teachers. And these teachers are trying as hard as they can, but they're still getting those pink slips, and they're hoping to get hired on again. But they're kind of like, everybody's in a kind of a state of limbo. They don't know where their next job is going to happen. They don't know where their next sometimes their next meal is going to happen. Many people are at the end of the rope with their rent, with their mortgage. So it's kind of like right now what we're seeing is just a zombie-like state of Americans. There is a whole class of people that cannot pay registration fees. They cannot pay $500 red light camera fees. They're starting to get in trouble with their licenses. And what's happening in California is they're tacking $300 on top of those fees. And right away, they're suspending licenses. And Jerry Brown is setting the wheels in motion to start suspending people's licenses for non-payment of property taxes. In California, there was a time where people could make $100,000, then they're having a shift in lifestyle, shift in income, and they're making $20,000. Well, they still owe those property taxes from the time that they were making money, or those income taxes, but they just don't have the income to make those payments. It's now the state's coming in and saying, we're going to take away your licenses. So people are, not only can people not pay the debts that they owe, they can't pay the taxes they owe. Now they're going to be, their driver's license are going to be taken away. It's just insult to injury, and it just doesn't even make any sense. Why would you inhibit people's ability to work when you're trying to collect revenue for them? So what we're seeing on a wholesale basis is government coming down harder and harder on the American worker. And eventually, I personally believe all debts, either private or public, are going to be consolidated under some government arm. Right now, it's a franchise tax board. And they're going to start taking away your passport. They're going to start taking away your license. They're going to start taking away all your rights until you start paying off these debts. And we've seen this with the wholesale taking away of rights of the so-called deadbeat dads. That was the trial run. Is, okay, if you're a deadbeat dad or you're called a deadbeat dad, we're going to take away your passport. We're going to take away your license. And so you can't even have the ability to pay those custody payments. And then we're going to put you in jail for 2 or 3 months out of the year. So it's this whole class of men in America that have just been disemboweled financially, and now we're headed to a situation where now the government is, okay, now it's time to move on to the next group of individuals. And it looks like what they're going to be hitting is the formerly high-income, middle-class American, and that it can no longer make those taxes, can no longer make pay those fees, those penalties. Now they're going to start putting the clamps on them. We have seen military movements. We've seen a lot of train movement down here in Southern California. So in some ways it is disturbing. We don't know exactly what's happening, but there are things called fusion centers that were set up primarily, I believe, for the illegal immigrant population. And they are, the government is taking down buildings, and they're not putting signs on these buildings, but they're processing individuals. And from what I'm hearing is that family members get taken to these centers, and they're not allowed to see their family. They're moved from location to location. You can't find them. So in some ways, there are people disappearing. They're disappearing, getting lost in the system. Kids are being left with their grandparents, and the parents are leaving to go find work. Massive breakup in the families right now. Massive breakup on the families. I know we have 50% divorce rate in this country, but right now families are being taxed to the limit. Financial issues. Everybody's having to reassess their lifestyles, and especially with gas prices at the way they are now, commuters, people that are commuting to work, just do not know how to handle this. They're putting that $400, $500, $600 gas bill on their credit card, hoping and praying that gas prices come down. The problem is they're not coming down. We're seeing higher prices at the grocery store, higher prices at the gas station, and people's income levels are staying the same. They're going down, if anything, and there's more pressure at work because people are being required to do the job of 2 or 3 people. So the ones that are staying here, that are kind of sticking it out through the collapse that's happening in Southern California, we're just kind of left. What happened to the Joneses down the street? What happened to the Smiths down the street? We don't know, So who knows? Who knows the answer? I think right now it's mainly financial. People are losing their homes. They're losing everything, and they're just too dang embarrassed to talk about it. Peace out. God bless. Take care. Hey, guys.
So, see, with that, what he said, what is your thoughts on that, Pandorian?
Everything that he said is accurate, and what he said is what I was discussing about Governor Brown pushing that through. There was talks of doing that as early as 2013 of taking driver's license, and the reason for that, the reason why, and this is my summation, the reason why that may be a practice now is because when the housing bubble popped, like he talked about that, he was alluding to the housing bubble of people losing their homes. Homelessness in Sacramento doubled, almost tripled, to the point to where there was this section that was by a major freeway that was known as the homeless community, where there were tents and tons of tents. We're talking 20 to almost 40 tents lined up of homeless people that had lost their homes and had nowhere to go. And there are videos on YouTube that have gone there and have seen like the aftermath of a lot of that. Before I left, they were starting to crack down on those communities, and police were starting to come in and be like, no, you can't set up tents here. And these are whole undeveloped plots of land that don't particularly belong to a company yet. They belong to the city, and they're not being used for anything, and there's nothing there. And the whole purpose of taking the driver's the license is so that LA, because it's not illegal in Sacramento yet, but LA has made it illegal for you to live in your car. If you are caught living in your car and you're parked, even if you're in a residential area, okay, they can arrest you and give you a citation and impound your car.
A citation? Okay, now would you get a citation for?
Well, that you have to pay. You have to. It's I can't remember exactly the wording for it, but it's like it's along the lines of like danger to the public type of thing.
How the fuck you sitting still?
Because you're living in your car, and it's this whole thing, and you have to appear before court. You have to pay the impound lot. It's a whole thing. Sacramento doesn't have that policy in place yet, at least that I know of. So when I research if they've officially gone through with taking driver's license, I'm going to research that as well. But so it would make sense for them to do that, because if you take somebody's home and they have a vehicle, what are they going to do? They're going to go stay in their vehicle.
And then they go out and take their. I'm thinking like, if they take their license, they can't go nowhere. They can't leave the state because people are leaving leaving California by the droves. And like I watched the earlier video, it costs for you to go to, let's say, Austin, Texas, to San Diego, California. It will cost you more to leave California to Austin than it is from Austin to California, because U-Haul doesn't have a sufficient amount of trucks in California.
Well, and also what has also happened as well is there has been a boom in mobile homes and tiny homes and things like that. And so California is trying to, I know as a state, they're trying to stop that. They're trying to stop people from doing that.
What, leaving California?
Well, they're trying to stop people from being able to have their home be mobile. I know that for a fact. As far as leaving California, I don't know. I don't have enough evidence to prove that yet.
There's plenty of videos that dudes had from going to I think it was from Oregon.
But it makes sense. Well, it's not. But see, you also have to remember with the videos is that videos are nice, but you also have to have written evidence. You also have to have look at the laws on the book to decipher. Because there are a lot of videos that can be edited, and I'm not saying that this video or other videos that show that. There are different things that can be attributed to that. But I mean, it doesn't surprise me if that does turn out to be the case, that they're trying to stop Californians from leaving, because businesses have already done it. So of course it's like, no, it's a whole thing of forcing people into doing what they want them to do. And if you look at the demographics all across the nation, there are a lot of states that are doing that. It's not even just California. That seems to be the initiative.
I don't see like why would you make stuff so high? Like, what's the point of having everything so fucking high? Like, he only wants super rich people here. See, this is on the news. We're using this by way of fair use.
Kit Doe tells us so many people are moving out, it's creating a major shortage of moving vans.
If you think living in the Bay Area is expensive, try leaving it. Everywhere you look, there are signs people are fleeing the region's sky-high housing prices. For instance,
about this?
for leaving it.
It's out.
The Bay Area has always been expensive. It was expensive during my mother's formative years, during my formative years. And so a lot of people are just deciding, you know what, we're not going to do this. I watched and read articles of people who, was one guy in particular who built a conversion house in a garage in Hawaii, and he lives in like a 1-bedroom in San Francisco, and he uses his money to pay for the house the land he bought in Hawaii, because he's like, no, it's too expensive. And they don't want to buy into the corporate job.
Yeah, because I forgot what I was watching the video. It was giving numbers. I know it when I see it. Oh, I'm just.
No, I'm not surprised. I'm not disputing anything. I am sure that people are leaving California in droves.
Oh, the rate is like the U-Haul rate comparison. This is the price in 2013. Brushing your teeth now.
But it's not. It's making news, but it's not news to me because I'm a California native. I mean, there are people who are leaving New York, not at the same rate. I don't think it's the same rate as California from the last time I looked at it. But there are people leaving New York for that same reason.
Yeah, because everything's fucking high in New York. Like, okay, this is the video. We're using this by way of fair use. This is like the cost, the price comparison. Going to same locations, but
yeah, I believe it.
See, San Francisco to Austin.
If you go from Austin, San Francisco,
Austin to San. If you go, why is it cheaper if you go the other way?
Go from San Francisco to Austin than it is to go from Austin to San Francisco.
But same direction. I mean, same.
I'll tell you about Austin and San Francisco. People are getting out of California.
Do you know why? Do you know why this is making such news headlines, though?
I want to know why.
Because of the culture and the history of California. California has been like the final frontier of pioneer homesteading. And so you have a lot of people whose families have been there since during that time period, and they're having to leave because the political climate is making it mandatory for children to dress the opposite gender, and their cost of living has gone up, so there's no reason for them to stay. No. It goes against the culture. A lot of the things that I see being reported about California are things that have happened in New York already and Chicago, and so it's making headlines because it's like, no, not California. That would be like a snowstorm happening in Arizona.
Yeah, that's why I told I'm like, California garbage.
What is it? San Francisco.
Now he's using different states going to California. See, San Francisco to Portland.
Whereas to go from Portland to San Francisco is only $837.
How come that's cheap?
Twice as expensive to go to Portland from San Francisco as it is to go San Francisco to Portland.
Then I compared my own hometown, the liberal center of Wayne, New Jersey. It goes from Wayne, New Jersey to Austin. The rate was $1,757. To do the reverse, to go from Austin to Wayne, price was only $943. 86% more expensive.
I want to know, why is it so more? Why is it higher to leave California or a progressive liberal state than it is the vice versa?
Because of the politics.
That, I don't know.
Because you have to have a heavy you have to have heavy taxes and fees in order to continue to roll out these programs that you're giving people who are not working or who are victimized or impoverished, whatever label they want to give them. You have to have money to pay them these services so that they can continue to keep the people in states and keep the political climate the way that the powers that be want it to be.
And
that costs money.
And this is what I tell people. I'm like DACA, the Dreamers, and all that shit. They want to keep DACA. I'm like, I don't benefit. You don't benefit. None of us benefit. All the Democratic Party is wanting DACA for is to secure their future votes for the Democratic Party. That's all it is for.
That's good.
So they rather put.
Well, it's.
They should have known.
It's not even, and it's really just a back and forth, and it's a dance because Republicans don't want to let anybody in, and they want to hold all the money. And Democrats say that they want to give all the money away, but then they have all these hidden fees and fine print.
Something wrong.
See,
and really, it's all a mess.
That's why I asked that question.
And my personal opinion.
Or does it do good? Does it feel good doing that, or does it do good doing that?
Well, it benefits the people at the top who want their power seats and are making money by being those seats and having that career.
Exactly.
That's what career politicians are.
And see, that's why I hate the shit about Maxine Waters be talking about. Like, okay, let's say you're on, you live across the street from a school. By law, you can't send your child to this school, even though this school is it's the best school in the county that you're living in. You have like a 100% chance, or your child has a 100% chance of succeeding. But by liberal bullshit and zoning, your child has to go to this school over here that's a failing school. And you can't do anything about it.
I have to stop you for a second. It's not about liberal zoning because conservative zoning did the same thing. But go ahead.
Well, I'm saying like zoning is like pretty much you have to send your child to this school even though that is failing. That's why I want school choice. Because if I have a child, I'm not sending them to a failing school. Because there was what was the story of the white people had to send their children to Howard, and they were like, oh hell no, we ain't sending our kids to that failing ass school. They got arms about that. I'm like, why would I send them? Would you send your child to a failing school?
I saw old square by can that you said.
That would be my only question. Would you send your child to a failing school?
You talking to me?
Yeah.
No, absolutely not. I would homeschool them. Even if I didn't have my teaching background, I would homeschool them.
See, me,
if I couldn't afford to send them to a private school, I would homeschool them.
I would do that. If I could send them to a very good school, either be private school or I homeschool them myself.
Well, the reason why these schools are failing, because I worked at a failing school, I taught at a failing school. And the reason why these schools are failing is because and I hear this all the time. One of the big things that is we said is, oh, it's the adult to child ratio, and it really isn't. What it is a lot of these children are just tickets. They're just tickets to be in a giant raffle, and as many tickets as you can get in a certain pot, then you get more funding from your district, and the district gets more funding from the state. And that's exactly what we were told. That's exactly how it works. So if they can identify more special ed students up front, then they'll get more funding because they're seen as an at-risk school. And what a lot of school sites did for the district that I worked for is that they would take that funding and they would run what they called interventions to help get the scores up, but magically the scores would never work, would never increase, because the environment is not academically sound. You cannot, if you have an environment where the adults are walking around like it's Office Space with each other and addressing the children. Remember the movie Office Space?
Yeah.
If the adults are doing that and they're teaching that way, and there's no behavior management. So when the child does something like children do because they're children, it's get out of my classroom. Okay, well they just can't sit still. Okay, let's slap a special ed label on them. Tell the parents that they need to medicate them and move on. And that's why these schools are failing. If they and don't get me wrong, it's not that I don't think that the schools, because it's not that I don't think that the schools get enough funding, because they don't. Depending on the district,
mismanage the money.
Huh?
I say some schools do, and I say they mismanage money.
Well, it's mismanaged money that's been mismanaged before. What a lot of people don't realize about school funding is money for school funding has already gone through 5 to 10 hands before it actually gets to the schools.
And that's
so when it gets to the school, and then not to mention if you have a mismanagement, and then there's a rat race with a lot of districts where, principals get a pat on the back for cutting their school site budget. So the money that they, quote unquote, are saving, they put that into something else, some kind of extra something else for the kids or whatever that doesn't go into academics.
I think they just pocket the money, because I do not like the people that sit on them panels at school boards. I'm like, because I know you well make over 6 figures a year, and you still can't figure out what's wrong. I'm like, if this ain't working the first time, okay, it's understandable. You try it again, second time, I'm like, okay, we got to try something else. But I know you be trying something, don't work, try it again, and don't work. At that point, we say, okay, let's try it a different way.
Maybe what I've experienced and what I've witnessed is often they don't follow educational code. And a lot of them don't know educational law. And so it's a free-for-all, and they do whatever they want, and they say whatever they want. And when they get the teacher that, it's teaching is a lot, and it shouldn't be this way, but it's a lot like high school, and it's a popularity contest within the staff. So if, you have, it's not about substance, it's about flash. So, it doesn't matter if your kids are well behaved or not, and it doesn't matter how they're doing academically or not. You can just say, well, it's the demographic, it's the neighborhood. Look at this, look at that. We need funding. They don't have this, they don't have that, and that's a whole other topic as well that feeds into it. I'm not saying that it doesn't.
I say also. The teachers union, that also plays a big role, because you actually have some teachers are actually hella good at their damn job. But how how the motto goes in the teachers union is, um, last one in is the first one out. So basically, the more longevity you have in the teachers union, the less likely you're going to lose your job. So if you were the last teacher to get a job, you're going to be the first one fired.
Yeah, yeah, and
you got some people that just don't give a damn about teachers. They're just doing it for money. I'm like, that's bullshit.
And also the pool that they pick from, and and I've experienced that with some coworkers and things like that. I also experienced, it's really district. It really depends on the district, because you have some that will keep a teacher in a position for years and not give them tenure, just because they know that they need someone to fill that spot, and that person has been there for a long time, and they'll continue to do it. And as far as the teachers union goes, it's the same thing that happens at the schools are the same thing that happens in the state senate. It's the same thing that happens in the nation, in the Supreme Court. A lot of the stuff that happens, it's the same type of politics. And what needs to happen in order to change that is that we need to have, especially for Black people, especially for Hispanic people, especially for Asian people. Well, not so much Asian people, because they already thrive, but we really need to stop trying to be entertainers and to stop trying to be athletes, and we really need to get into these jobs and understand that we are Americans, and that it is an honor. It is an honorable job to be a police officer, to be a teacher, to be a firefighter, to be a paramedic.
You know what's funny about that? Bro, we're watching Family Feud, and it was like the Kardashians versus the West family, and Kanye West had what was that? His cousin? Okay, what do you think his cousin did?
What was the question? I don't understand.
Like on the Kanye West family. Like, what do you think he did for a living? His cousin.
Oh, I don't know. Was he a teacher? I don't know. I don't know anything about his family other than how his mother died. That's the only thing I know about him.
Like,
well, I know that he has talked about how he has come from a family of protesters and things like that from the civil rights movement. But other than that,
people would think his family would be like related to music or something like that. But his cousin is an architect.
Nice. Nice.
I know architects make a lot of money.
Nice. That's good.
There was a commercial saying that we have enough ball players, we have enough football players, we have enough all this and that. This is what we need. Engineers, businessmen, architects, like I was saying.
Actually, what they need now is a lot of people with trade skills.
Yeah, but man, no black people don't. If it relates to bullshit, they'll do it.
Well, I mean, from what I've seen, there is a turning tide on that, and it has a lot to do with millennials, as much as people don't want to admit it. My generation.
I'm entitled to having this. No.
No. You don't know what I'm getting ready to say. That there's a turning tide of people of color not trying to be in sports and entertainment and being engineers and being tech moguls and it's happening. It's a crawl, but it's happening. The biggest thing that I think that needs to change hands and needs to happen is we need more politicians, and we need more communities to participate in elections, but start being self-sufficient. Because as much as things are crazy, even in California, even in places all over the country, We still have our rights. You just have to know what they are, and you just have to educate yourself on what they are. And if communities band together and band their money together, like so many other communities do, like in Sacramento, a lot of the Asian communities, a lot of the Ukrainian communities band together, and a lot of them don't have the same issues that other subcultures have in Sacramento, and I know that for a fact.
Because they know how to reconcile. It's like
they started
we have to do all this together.
They started in the same neighborhoods, in the same communities that a lot of black people are in. And Kevin Johnson, when he was mayor, brought in a lot of money to Sacramento and brought a lot of businesses to Sacramento, and he pulled a Magic Johnson. And Magic Johnson has done the same thing in LA. So I see things as getting worse, but there's also things that are making it get better behind the scenes. So it's just a matter of your average citizen staying alert, not buying into the BS, participating in voting locally, and being accountable for yourself and your family.
There's another thing too.
My wife has what?
I just said there's another thing too. You know, like I tell you all the time, people say, well, why do you think people do this and people do that? Because of ignorance. People, if you don't know and you're afraid to ask, and then the people that do know won't pass on the information, they're keeping you in the dark. So that's why you have so many people that are not interested in certain things, that won't learn about certain things. And even there are a few that do want to learn, they just don't know how to, because they don't know who to talk to get the information. You know, you understand what I'm saying? Like I told you, it's about certain areas that you stay in. When you first came here, what did I tell you? I said they don't teach other languages in elementary school here.
Besides Spanish?
They didn't do it.
No,
they had just started doing it probably within the last 5 or 6 years. But they did not teach Spanish here because it wasn't as many Spanish-speaking people here. So I guess they didn't feel the need to teach it in school. But it's been common in other places for years to teach Spanish in elementary school. So certain things are taught in certain areas. Just like I told you, I was interested in forensics. There was nowhere here to learn anything about forensics.
Yeah, it's also an area in this schooling that you won't learn something, but there's no school around here to learn it. Like what you told me. I don't know if you know this, Pandorian. What is that called for somebody who participates in sleep studies? The person that's doing the procedure.
I forgot the technical name for it.
You know the technical name?
But it's a sleep study specialist.
Like a sleep study specialist.
I forgot the technical.
It escapes me at the moment. My mind is blank. Sorry.
But
here, I'll look it up.
But you know what that? Do you know that person makes over 6 figures a year?
6-figure job.
It's a 6-figure job. All you doing is getting paid to watch people sleep.
Well, that's because it's an analyst job, and analyst jobs have always been historically a lot. Because people do not want to look at data. They don't.
Yeah, but they still like to look at money. I'm like, okay, what she just said, and I hope somebody watches this point. To this point, you said people, analyst positions or professions, those make a lot of money. Like a business analyst. I don't know what the hell that means. I don't know, you just analyze the business?
Because there are things that people just don't want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is. It's sad, but it's true.
I mean, some people could not become a sleep study specialist. Why? Because they'll become bored out of their mind and they'll go to sleep. You know, it's just some things. It's just not for everybody.
Okay, when you had who did you have? Was they white or black, Hispanic? What? When you had your done?
It was a white female, I believe.
White female. Look at that. There's so many nurses.
But Greg is a sleep study
Who
specialist.
the fuck is Greg?
Greg is Ebony and Reese's dad. Debbie's ex-husband.
She was stupid.
No, he didn't do that always. When he moved from here, he had to go to Seattle to get into something like that.
And see, I bet you the school that you have to learn that in is like in a big city like Atlanta.
Well, you can do it in I think you can do it in Knoxville now.
See, and it's like that. Pandora, didn't Tommy say this? Black folks don't like leaving the area they was born in.
What do I think about it?
No, what didn't Tommy say that black people don't leaving our area?
He's said it many times. Many times.
And he said, and then we wonder why sometimes our children are fucked up. Because we've been inbreeding like a motherfucker. Why don't we leave?
Well, it's and
feel the most comfortable.
It's a whole mentality that goes with that, because I remember I have stories of my grandfather, well, my grandparents on my mother's side, my maternal grandparents, where he joined the military because he did not want to stay in North Carolina. And he was like, and to quote him, he was like, I ain't going to be no goddamn sharecropper. Those were his words. And so he joined the military. He fudged his paperwork. He said he was older than he was, which you could do, and it didn't really matter because he's Black Puerto Rican, and no one's going to be like, oh, what's your age, But when he and my grandmother got married, they got married before he went away to basic training. He came back, they got married, and he immediately got deployed out to Europe. And when they were getting ready to go, you would think people would be excited for them, and these young people are starting out on their life, right?
Yeah. They
didn't. Her mother told her, my great grandmother told my grandmother, I hope that I hope you're making the best decision that you want, because you can't come back here if it falls apart. You could have stayed, and you could have gone to school, but you're deciding to do this, so you can't come back here.
Damn.
And his family was like, what are you doing? Why are you marrying that dark girl? Why are you going away? Blah, 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 blah. Like, both of their families were not receptive and not happy about the fact that they were venturing out. And this was the late 50s. So you would think, especially being the fact that it was Jim Crow, North Carolina, that they would be like, good for you, young man. No, wasn't that at all. And so what I've noticed throughout time is that with us, with Black people, is that when you decide that you want to venture out and go against the norm, even if you go against the norm still in that community, you're a problem. And it's not that that's uniquely Black, because that's a lot of communities. But it seems to be like when you prosper for going outside the norm, you're a problem. If you don't prosper, then everyone laughs at you and your joke, but people will give you $5 here and there.
Now,
and I think that what that comes from is a point of I think it's the same kind of mixture dating back to like the difference between some of the captives who decided to commit suicide and some of the captives who decided to stick it out. I think that's a lot. I think that's closely linked to a lot of that mentality, and a lot of Black people don't realize it.
Yeah, like my niece, the one I was talking about, the one that graduated college with a bachelor's. She was, her mother wanted her to stay here, and I'm like, my wife and well, I know my wife said like she wanted to move to another state, and I'm like, you need to move because there ain't no job around here. My wife and her sister told her, you need to leave this city because there ain't no damn jobs here that pay worth a damn anyway. You already have 2 strikes on you. You're Black and you're a woman. You want to go for strike number 3? That's on you. So I don't know why. See, that's what Tommy said. These mothers be wanting their daughters here. Don't want to scared their daughters gonna do better than them.
No, that's
because they was in the big family, so they want them to stay. Man, the hell with that, man.
Well, every family is different, but from what I've observed from my own family and the psychology that I've studied behind it, is that part of it is jealousy. Because like my grandmother, like I'll use myself as an example. My grandmother is happy when her 3 girls are not doing well or in turmoil. If her 3 girls are succeeding and being successful and they don't need her, then she gets upset and she will create turmoil. And I have seen this in lots of families, lots of Black families, and lots of Hispanic families as well. And it's a component of the jealousy. It's a component of control.
Why would you be jealous of me? See, that's the thing. Ain't nothing that will please me. That is like the greatest gift I can see, that my child surpass me. That is my greatest gift of getting.
But that's because you're a man, and men, even men that live through their children in a means so that their children will do more and do better than they could. Women historically have not been that way.
Well, I was just waiting on you to say the
jealousy
part about parents. What it is ones that are happy when you're doing bad. It's not so much as that they're actually happy. It's just that
they feel needed.
When you're doing good, they feel like you don't need them.
I said that. Well, no, it's maybe happy is not the right word. Like with my grandmother, and from what I've seen, it's a joy. It's more of a euphoria.
Yeah.
Because we're like, I can hop into action and I can control this, and I still have control. I can still turn the tide and make or break the situation.
Yes.
Yeah.
And women have historically been that way.
I see no benefit coming out of that, having that mindset.
Well, here's the thing. Most.
It also depends too on the age that the woman gets pregnant with the child and has the child too, because it's a maturity level.
I don't know when she had the first K.
What?
How old was she when she had the first K, the first daughter?
Okay.
I wasn't saying no names. Oh, age.
Well, and then of course there's always anomalies. You know, there are anomaly parents who are like, you know, I couldn't achieve everything I wanted to achieve. Or anomaly mothers, I should say. So no. You go out and you.
The achievements the children have as of now, that all came from her brother. Because her brother grew up, well, he was in the military, so he instilled discipline in them somewhat. But you just didn't like mom because she had a mouth. A smart guy.
Well, I gotta get going. I hope I answered all of your questions.
No! I have one question. No. Yeah, because I was been trying to get you on the mugshot game. Because
Yeah.
I'm trying to show you. This is how it really is. See, you look at these pictures. You see this picture right here you're looking at, right? John Daniel Young.
One of them looks like he's a pirate. He makes me think he's a pirate.
Arr, baby. Are you ready, kids? I can't hear you. Okay.
That's what I think of. I'm just looking for the gold hoop, and I'm like, okay, you're a pirate. What did you do?
Nah, okay.
From Barbados.
Here's the thing. I do not know what these people have done.
Okay.
So what we do, we try to guess what they got arrested for. Like I say, he's probably hell, I don't even fucking know. No license, having no license.
Okay, so you just throw out what the conviction is.
Yeah, and we all guess, and then I click on the picture, and it'll say
what it is.
Yeah, possession of methamphetamines. Damn, he don't look like a meth head.
Yeah, he does. No, he doesn't.
Wow, what a meth head supposed to look like?
And he unlawful possession of a fire. What?
I said, what a meth head supposed to look like?
Not like that. He has like a normal, like, I'm a humble guy face.
No, he looks like he sells meth.
Hold on, I gotta know.
He looks like a hit from the sticks who sells meth, and it's hidden in his tractor.
Wow.
Or mobile home.
I'm gonna tell you, okay, the women that's been on the game, the ones that's smiling, those are the ones the thieves. I'm saying she's stealing shit. Which thing she done?
I'm gonna say I'm gonna say either fraud, accessory to fraud, or theft.
Oh, she got booked. I hate those. Her, I'm gonna say she look lit. I'm gonna say drugs and alcohol related.
Yeah, definitely under the influence.
God damn it! Another. Him.
Okay, so can I give you? I'll give you my. Or no, go ahead. You go first.
Drugs, no license. What the fuck is on with his hair? He got like half his hair is gone.
He's the one that I was like, he looks like a pirate. He looks like he's coming from Barbados. I would say, oh boy, I don't know. Theft or possession of controlled substance.
I'm saying no license. Damn it.
Vandalism. Oh.
Who ass was he beating?
What is that middle? Is that another last name or is that an actual middle name? And how do you say that? Likey?
I don't know. They did. Chassie didn't believe me, but I told her there was somebody who had a name, Charmin Prince. I bullshit you not. It's the title is Guess the Crime Game, and I had that shit timestamp. It's 4 hours and 20 minutes and 25 seconds. Start there, let the fucking rest play out. Cause she's like, who the fuck names her kid Charmin? I'm like, I thought he got arrested for throwing toilet paper at people. There's this nigga in jail again. This damn the dude that had a nutsack for a head. He back in Cortell LeBron Sims again.
Well, goodness grief.
I'll let you know If you play this, the mugshots just get worse and worse.
Oh, is it the white guy?
You
Is it the
said
white guy who's the defender?
You know what? See, everyone wants to say sex offender and all that. The times when y'all don't call them out when y'all see them, that's when they are the sex offenders. So he's saying the white guy the sex offender. We'll find out today. I'll say he's alcohol related. Fuck. Disorderly conduct. Aggravated assault.
Aggravated assault. He looks drunk.
I'm saying he got no license. They probably call Cortez LeBron Sims. No license. Bitch. Probably got booked for the same shit. He got. Oh my god! Oh shit!
What?
I know you see this.
What? What do you think? What am I supposed to see?
Just click on my avatar. You just see these. Oh my god!
I see the photos and they look horrible. But
It gets worse and worse and worse as you keep scrolling. Like, you got some ghetto ass names. I'm like, I need my wife. My wife is not ghetto. She can help me pronounce some of these names. Oh yeah, we saw a couple Felicias on here.
I think that Jamar was arrested because of a girlfriend. That's what he looks like. He looks like he was arrested for domestic dispute.
I'm gonna say he got no license. Oh, theft for property, evading arrest, resisting arrest, or obstruction of legal process.
I knew it was something aggressive. I knew it was something.
Criminal impersonation. I don't know what the hell that is. Have you ever heard of?
A lot of times it's when they're saying that they're someone that they're not. Like DMX got arrested for that. He pretended that he was an FBI agent and took a car.
Wait a minute. How the fuck? You're a known celebrity. I'm like, oh fuck.
Yeah, he did that. Yeah, he said he was an FBI agent. He didn't say he was DMX. He used, I don't know which name he used. He was impersonating an FBI agent, and he commandeered a vehicle in New York.
I'm for the FBI, man.
Yeah, and he got arrested. And the person who got out of the car was like just in shock. Like the person knew who it was and was just in shock and was like, yeah, okay, whatever, and just got out of the car.
Kelly Lee Sanders. I'm gonna say he got no license and he was drugged all the way.
What did Taylor Ryan do?
You want to guess? I don't know.
Oh, resisting arrest.
I'm gonna say
he's got that hillbilly beard.
I'm gonna say failure to appear.
I love beards, but he's got the hillbilly beard.
Drinking under the age, selling alcohol to a minor.
Oh, okay.
You're 20 years old. What you know about drinking? Sit your head down.
Oh, okay. Maybe he grew the beard for
that. Kelly Lee Sanders, I'm gonna say drugs and no license.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with you on that one.
Damn, that's property possession.
Oh, with intent to. Oh, okay. He's a thief.
Yeah, that's wants to shoot people. Tamla Roddy. I'm gonna say this is something domestic because you see her hair, you know she.
Yeah, I think it's domestic. I definitely think it's domestic.
She was fighting. Oh!
Booked for previous. Oh.
I hate people like that. I'll be quick to get them off my stuff. Oh my god!
Wow. I thought that was a man at first.
Oh,
Laura Bloom? I was like, that's an interesting hair choice for a man. Oh wait, that's a woman.
Hmm. I don't even know what this. I'm gonna say both of these will fight. I'm gonna say domestic assault, some shit.
Yeah, for sure. I agree.
Failure to appear.
Probation. Okay, see, I don't understand that sneer look. Like I've seen a lot of black guys make that outlaw look in the wanted poster from like the Wild West days. And I don't know if they're doing it intentionally or if that's just like a side effect of their face. I don't know.
People say I'm gonna walk around looking like I'm mad. I'm like, that's my face. That's how it looks.
No, but I've never seen you sneer. You're very stoic. And a lot of men typically tend to be stoic, but he's doing like this thing where like his part of his lips going up a little bit, like he's sneering.
I don't like. I'll slap the crap out your mouth. Laura B. Quinn. I'm gonna say she was stealing. She looked like a thief. She looked like she was eating the damn, stealing the ham in the throat.
I'm gonna say fraud.
DUI.
Okay, yeah. And she's 29. Great life choices.
William Paul Price. I'm gonna say child pedophile, sexual battery.
I was gonna say child support.
Hey, have you ever heard of, okay, what the hell is aggressive panhandling?
Aggressive panhandling?
Yes, somebody got arrested for this.
That's when they are begging in a certain area and they're asked to leave and they don't leave.
Man, give me some money, man. I thought it was like that. Man, give me some money.
No, it's just that you've been asked to leave and you don't want to leave, and so you refuse to leave. And they might be aggressive in what they're saying, or they might gesture, but they haven't hit anybody.
Man, that's funny. Aggressive panhandling. I thought it was like, yelling at people. Man, give me some money. I want some money, man.
Yeah, because in certain places, it isn't illegal. In certain places, it is illegal. But a lot of businesses reserve the right, if they want you off of their property, to tell you that you have to leave. And if you refuse, then if you're bothering the customers.
I'm gonna say these two in the middle of stealing. He's
I think under the influence.
Who, him?
No. Louis. Go ahead, sorry.
Louis Gabriel Plaza. Now see, here this. Oh, domestic assault.
Domestic assault. I should have known. He looks so defeated.
Oh man.
I was gonna go with domestic assault, but I was like, no.
I'm gonna say she's stealing because she got like, yeah, and I stole it, and what?
And I'll do it again.
Yep. Oh yeah.
I gave birth to Honey Boo Boo's protege.
No. There was somebody on the show. They had 4 counts of violation probation, 4 counts of theft under $1.
Wow. She might be a probation violation. She looks like she's been in female lockup.
And she got booked previous reasons. What's up with all these people that I'm saying she was stealing? I don't even know how to say that name. I was about to say Kaylee.
I think that's the Celtic way that you spell it.
That's a stupid way to spell it. Oh, there you go. I'm an FBI agent, bitch.
A lot of these things, those charges too. I've noticed with women is they get charged with the same thing, and a lot of times the same thing that if they have a boyfriend or whatever who's a criminal who's doing that, and a lot of times they notice like they're an accessory, but they get charged the same, which is good. They should get charged the same. But I just think it's funny because it's like you're running with, the dregs of society, but you didn't think you weren't gonna get caught.
I'm saying Matthew Justin Patton. That's alcohol. He just looks glazed in the eyeballs.
I'm gonna say a drug under the influence.
Damn, you and my wife said the same thing.
Yeah.
Book previous charges.
He looks like a drug addict. Anyway.
Oh God. There's this one dude that I was scrolling. I wasn't looking. I was just like, yeah, I can tell she was fighting.
Well, I gotta go. So this was fun, and I hope I answered your questions and gave you content.
Yeah. See now, anyone that you know that has Hangouts, when I do this, just give them the link because the more people that join the panel, the funnier it
The
gets.
funnier it is. Yeah.
Yes, I'm like, I don't know why it got more funny. I guess because everybody was cracking jokes on the people on the lineup.
Yeah, and that's good. I mean, do you have a list of contacts that you can like let them know? Hey,
Chassis, Barbie, Rashid, he too busy for E3. Like this dude, he got a damn police whooped his ass. Yep.
Yeah, there was in 2014, not far away from where I used to teach. There was a white guy who basically got curb stomped by a bunch of police in Sacramento, and it was recorded. And then they finally, when they finally subdued him and were done beating the crap out of him, they took him to jail, and it didn't make news headlines at all.
Oh yeah, make sure you tell your little ones that there's a Dumbo movie coming out.
When?
Next year.
Oh, okay.
It's gonna be CGI though. So.
Oh, okay.
Ain't gonna be like cartoon.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Oh wow, yeah, huh? I didn't realize that was. I thought that was gonna come out in like 2022. I didn't realize that was right around the corner.
Oh, that's next year. I'm waiting on How to Train Your Dragon 3. Toothless got a girlfriend.
Me too. I'm excited. I love those movies. We watched the series, and I'm tempted. I'm tempted to get the books, even though they're little kid books. I don't care. I finished the Harry Potter books when I was like when I was an adult, because I was still reading Harry Potter. I didn't give it up.
Oh God, you still watch? Oh God, I hate Harry Potter.
Yeah, I love Harry Potter.
It's stupid.
To each their own. It's not stupid to me. I love Harry Potter.
My opinion matters, damn it.
Harry Potter is one of those books where there are so many different elements that you could talk about different situations and take away something different from it. And a lot of people don't realize that.
And that is
just about people in general and communities and love, hatred, betrayal. I mean, it's really a kid version. I would say it's a kid version of a Shakespearean play, personally. And I love Shakespeare. So I was one of the fortunate ones, not to get braggy, but I was one of the fortunate ones who was able to get an import copy when it first came out, because I was in middle school when it first came out in the UK. And I loved it. And so I got another copy, and then my mom was like, "What are you reading?" And she was like, "Oh my gosh!" And she was speaking English at the time, and so she was like, "Oh, I'm gonna use some of the stuff in my lessons." But yeah, I mean, it's got a lot of different things going on. I mean, the backstories, like there's a lot of famous quotes, like, if you want to tell the mark of a man, look at how he treats his inferiors. That's a quote from one of the characters from the story. With the relationship between the wizarding world and the human and the regular, Muggle world, and how a child being forgotten and mistreated and overlooked and abused can become which is the same thing that we see throughout history, can become a vindictive, malevolent force to be reckoned with, and he's so talented and so powerful that he picks his own demise and doesn't even realize it. Basically, he was his own. He's his worst enemy.
No, I can't do it.
Huh?
I can't. I tried watching the movie, couldn't get into the movie.
No, the movies don't do the books justice. They really don't. I mean, they don't. There's a lot of things that they incorporated in the films. There's a lot of things that they made brand new for the film that make no sense, that didn't happen in the book. They left out key parts of the book to tell the stories because they made the whole point of Harry Potter. The focal point is, oh, it's magic. So since it's magic, they tried to turn it into this fantasy. They tried to basically make like little kid Lord of the Rings. Well, that's not what Harry Potter is. And Lord of the Rings is Lord of the Rings. You can't turn something into Lord of the Rings.
No. Oh, you're a fan of the Lord of the Rings?
Yeah.
Oh.
I'm a nerd, dude.
No, have you ever seen Clerks?
Clerks, yes. I love those films as well.
Okay, no, the second one. Have you seen Clerks 2?
Yeah, I love his little summation of Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
And I love how the Lord of the Rings nerds were so upset they wanted to hop across the couch.
It's like fucking A. The two dudes sitting over there, fucking A. That movie was stupid. It was like, walk to a damn volcano. Just throw a ring in the damn volcano.
Lord of the Rings is another story about humanity and about if for people, and I often see this, and everybody has their own has their own things that they like. And I don't know about you because I don't know about the things that you read or what you do in your spare time. But
look up big words to use. Come on, you know I'm a sesquipedalian.
What I have encountered is that a lot of people who don't like Lord of the Rings and they don't like films like that, because are often the people who didn't understand the Matrix movie when it first came out. They don't read philosophy. They don't understand philosophy. They don't understand psychology. And so they don't they don't read Shakespeare. They don't understand Shakespeare. So they don't understand its place. And they go into it expecting it with expectations, expecting it to be like a video game, expecting it to be like Elder Scrolls or Skyrim, but like jacked to a millionth degree. And it's not, because you have to see the politics that play into it. You have to see that even though you have these characters that are not human, they still have humanoid traits. Greed, vanity, love, lust. It's all these things. People, and what is fascinating to me also is when I see people who claim, well, I shouldn't say claim, but they profess to love the Bible and have read the various books through and through, but yet they don't understand Lord of the Rings, and it's the same element. I mean, Tolkien wrote the Lord of the Rings series because they were individual books, but he wrote them as an escape of what was going on with World War II, and with that in mind. And people often don't know that, or they don't acknowledge it.
Right.
Like a lot of the things that we talk about, a lot of things that Tommy talks about is in Lord of the Rings and it's in Harry Potter. It's the same thing because it's the same historical stage happening all over again. The things that are happening now, believe it or not, are not new. They're not.
So who are the people that are coming after Tommy? Who are they? Like in Lord of the Rings terms.
What do you mean they? Like, what are you asking me?
Who after Tommy you have who's that one transgender? Cynthia. Who else? Everybody knows.
No. I'm not saying characters. I'm saying about the things that Tommy talks about humanity the things that the concepts that he discussed are in Lord of the Rings. You know, corruption, greed, annihilation, war, slavery.
You gotta do something about that air.
Those things are in, those concepts are in Lord of the Rings. And the whole reason why it was hard to get the ring there is because the ring is a magic item that's been enchanted to corrupt the person who carries it and changes them.
Why didn't it do that to Frodo? Can't believe I know his name.
Frodo?
Yeah, why come it didn't corrupt him?
Because he's pure of heart. But even and that's the concept. But even Frodo has bouts where he changes and he twists and he turns. But
Yeah, you heard what my wife said. Did you hear what my wife said?
What?
She said, no, I can't do it without laughing. Say my fresh. You stupid.
What did she say? I didn't hear it.
When you say because he's pure and all that, my wife like over here in the background say, my precious, my precious.
Oh yeah, exactly. Because he's pure of heart, and so that's why he essentially.
No, like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, young man, my precious.
I'm glad that she said that because Smeagol is a good example of someone who considered himself to be pure of heart and thought he was a good person, and he was with the ring for such a long time that he didn't die, but it turned him into that creature. That's why.
No, this is how she did it. It's like my precious.
Anyway.
And you said it just like his ass.
To each their own. I mean, you enjoy looking at the news stories and talking about them. Like, you're essentially doing the same thing. It's just you do them in real time with what's current.
Like there's a link. It said, I really wanted somebody to discuss this one. It's like I believe it's in Michigan where they're saying in Michigan a woman that has a child in an extramarital affair can decides who raises the child.
I saw that.
Yeah, I'm like, ain't that kind of bullshit?
Oh, it is. It absolutely is.
Like you made a child, and like you made a child out of what? How the hell you say that? It's not out of it's out of wedlock with another person, even though you're married to someone else.
Extramarital affair.
Yeah.
My personal opinion is that it's just a power play to appease the women of that district, of that sector. Because if you don't make women accountable for anything, and that's the other thing too, that I was having a conversation with another friend of mine, where women legally, even though we have the right to vote, we're still not considered to be 100% full-fledged citizens the way that men are. We're still not. And there was, I don't want to call it a protest, maybe a rally recently for that. I can't remember in what state. But what's happening is that if you give women all these consolation prizes,
no, you don't. You do not reward irresponsible
that law.
behavior.
No, but what I'm saying is if you give women all of these consolation prizes, Title IV, and then that law, right? Then they don't ever have to stand up and be accountable.
The hell
they're not real citizens anyway. But they're working both ends.
I said it's
They're using the bodies to get the votes, but and being like sure, because it's all about making money and it's all about assessing power, and that's what it is, and that's what that law is. And I have all kinds of posts on my social media. Like I saw something today that really upset me, and to the point where I have to post about it. And I'm not that type of person that does things like that, but I had to. Where it was encouraging changing Father's Day to Father Figure Day because there are so many children that don't have fathers. And it was released by USA Today. And it was so upsetting because I was like, no, this defeats the whole purpose of getting the fathers back in the homes of men being able to take their place and be where they should be in this country.
Yep. But,
and that's all that law is doing.
Like because a lot of people don't care. They say, I don't know.
So the only thing that I can do as someone is,
and a lot of us
speak out about it.
We don't know.
And as soon as I get myself together, maybe not campaign, but try and lobby for it. Lobby for certain men's rights because it's a shame that I have to do that because any group, whether it's men's, whether it's women's, whether it's LGBTQ, whether it's interracial groups, any group that champions rights for itself and not for the group and not for the whole are problems. But if you can get everybody in separate groups and get everybody arguing to each other, then the small percentage that actually run the company and actually have generational wealth can come right in and take over. Like what's been happening and what is continuing to happen.
Everyone have general.
But anyway, I've extended my
generational
poverty. So I'm gonna go now.
We have generational wealth, as you said, and we stay at generational poverty. Why is that? Nobody wants to answer. Oh, she left me. No. Da.
I would have left here, but she didn't tell me she had to go for the loan.
I'm sorry. Well, I'd say we had a good ass discussion.
Man, my freaking ears hurt.
Put some saline in your ears.
I'm not putting shit in my ears. I wouldn't even want the doctor to put that in my ears. But okay, I'm gonna put a couple of these drops in y'all and look at them.
And then I wish you would.
Same way I do when they get ready to put drops in my eyes. I just look at them.
Man, I wish you would.
I said my damn ear hurts.
I wish you would put that shit in my ear.
Behind bars, President Trump's former campaign chairman, Paul Manafort, ordered to jail as he faces charges in the Russian.
They had a special report on him.
And what Rudy Giuliani said today about possible pardons in the future.
What's that?
Surprise, the media spectacle on the front lawn.
I'm gonna leave y'all guys with this. Hope y'all enjoyed the show.
If I hit it one time, I'm a viper. If I hit it 2 times, then I like her. If I fuck 3 times, I'm a wiper. It ain't safe for the black or the white girl.
It ain't safe. It ain't safe. It ain't safe. It ain't safe. Pipe up. Pipe up. We out.